Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Go Beyond. My name is Amy Parsons, and I am filling in today for the amazing Alyssa Robinson. And I'm here with Senior Pastor Daniel Humbert. How are you, Daniel?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. You have a good Thanksgiving?
I did. It was a little odd. We didn't do the whole turkey on Thursday. We kind of did a little ham on Tuesday, and then just did some fun stuff this weekend. And you
My
know.
hunch is most everybody had a different kind of Thanksgiving this year.
It was, but still good and lots to be thankful for. So,
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah.
so we started this cool new series, Unstoppable Christmas. I suppose I say cool. I'm biased because get to be a part of the team that picks those, but it's been really powerful in our worship meetings. And this week is about hope. So we are talking today about hope. And so we're going to kind of dig into that. I saw your lips move. Did you say
I
something?
just said I love that topic.
I know it really is great. And I think these questions that we've got prepared are really good ones. So we're going to start with, what is the difference between mere optimism and unstoppable hope? Mere
Yeah.
optimism and unstoppable hope.
Optimism and hope. And so we get to answer these together, right?
Right, right. I'll let you go first because you've got more degrees. So
You're optimistic, see?
I am.
Yeah. So for me, I think optimism is clearly a sense in which I like things to be positive. I like to look on the bright side. I want to see the sunny side of the day, right? That's optimism. And I think optimism is always helpful. And I think optimism can lead to hope. But for me, hope is more. And hope is kind of this confident assurance that something is going to go the way I believe that it should, or that I certainly want it to go. And so for me, hope is literally what gives me life and gives me the belief that there is something beyond where I am and what can be. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, optimism can lead to hope, and therefore it's kind of a component of hope, but it's not the totality of hope. For me, hope is much bigger and broader, and there's more confidence to hope than there is to optimism, though I sure like to be optimistic and certainly love to be around people who are optimistic.
Yeah, I'm a 6. We don't tend to be. We tend to look for the on the Enneagram 6. We tend to expect the worst. So I
Yeah.
struggle sometimes with that. Well, I made a note and then I changed it and made another, and I had two different things. The first thing I thought was, for me personally, optimism is kind of a way of looking at things, and hope was a way of feeling about things.
Mm.
Because I think that sometimes, I can be optimistic about this is going to work out and but maybe those aren't things they're just surface stuff. And the
Yeah.
hope is that feeling.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wrote down, optimism. Okay. And this is, I think, taking in my Enneagram number here. Optimism is the idea that everything will turn out okay, which is probably why I struggle with that and don't have it. But hope is that everything is okay. I just have to kind of get it in my head and heart.
Yeah. And I also think that optimism is what I call an everyday concept. That is to say, it's a common concept. Whether it's a
Mhm.
part of your everyday or not is, another thing. But whereas for me, hope is very much faith-based, right? That is to say,
Mhm.
you can have hope without being a person of faith, but I believe that that hope is tied to our faith as followers of Jesus. And so there's something richer and deeper and more fulfilling about hope than optimism, at least for me. And so to me, that's one more distinction, is that there's a faith-based element to hope, versus optimism can be for anybody, right?
So therein the challenge is feeling the hope even when you feel pessimistic or
Yeah, that's
lack
exactly right.
optimism.
It's sort of, and we'll talk about this in a couple of weeks, but it's sort of like the difference between joy and happiness.
Uh-huh.
Hopefulness is deeper and richer than optimism.
Yeah.
And I think it takes us farther than optimism can, even though clearly optimism is a great thing and helps us every day if we have it, right? And it looks on the glass half full versus half empty kind of a deal. And so I love hope, and it is our business, if you will. For those of us in professional ministry, as you and I are, that's what we're in the business of, is offering hope. is offering this opportunity to know that things really are better than they may be, and
Mhm.
that there is possibility even when things may not be going our way. So yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great analogy. Part of what I love about the Monday Go Beyond is that these are from the Huddle guide that other people can have
Mhm.
access
Right.
to, and that they're designed, of course, by nature to be dialogical like what we're doing. And so I
Right.
love that part of it.
Right. And on that, I encourage anybody out there, put your comments, and if you're watching on
Yeah,
Facebook or if you're on the church online, dig in there with some comments, and whether we go over them now necessarily or later on, there is a link to the Huddle guide in the description too. So be sure and check that out. All right. How about this one? Who in your life might need to hear that Jesus can bring them hope?
yeah. Well, I'm certainly not going to name names, but I think we run into people like this every day. I think in particular of a friend of mine from high school. We're not close, but we go way back because high school was way back for me. And we maintain connection on social media, and I think of him often because he often struggles with lack of hope. He often struggles with even lack of optimism. And so I share with him where I can, the powerful gift of hope. Sometimes I talk about it in the context of faith in Jesus, but sometimes I just talk about it in the context of needing to know there's something beyond where we are currently, because of
Mhm.
course that's really what hope is, right? Is that I need to know there's something past where I am right now. I mean, I think, for instance, of people who commit suicide. They clearly have lost all hope, right?
Right.
And they feel as though there's nothing beyond where they are currently, and there's no hope, no sense that anything can get better. And so for me, for a person as a person of faith, I believe strongly that that's our stronghold, if you will, is to know that there's something beyond where I am right now. I mean,
Right.
hope, of course, is the basis of our faith, right? That there is life beyond this life, that there is life beyond death, that there is hope beyond whatever my circumstances are.
Mhm.
And so I, I think you know this. My sister took her life, and there was for years I struggled with how did I fail her? How did I fail offering her hope? Because that's what she lost, right? Was hope. She didn't believe that there was anything past this. And so after a while, I finally realized I am not the one who can help her to. I'm not the one to give her hope so much as I'm the one to help lead people to hope, right? I can't have the hope for somebody else. I can only have hope for myself, but I can point others to the hope of Jesus or to the hope of something beyond where we are. So,
Sure, sure. Yeah, and that's important. Yeah, the first thing that came to my mind when I read this question, who in your life might need to hear that Jesus can bring them hope? First thing I thought, as much as this sounds like a cheat answer, everybody to
yeah,
some extent. I think it's easier to think, is there anybody who doesn't need to hear that? And I think that all of us at some point, I can remember times in my life where I really needed to hear that, whether raised in the church and that's always been a part of your life, or whether it's brand new. We all get that hopeless feeling
right, right.
at times. And
Yeah. And I agree with you. We all need it. And in fact, that's why we believe, at least I know it's why I believe, I can only assume it's why you believe in Jesus is he gives us that, and he offers us the opportunity to know that there really is light beyond this darkness that I may be facing, that there really is something beyond where I am. And to me,
Mhm,
that's the hope. So,
mhm. Yeah, that's powerful. So, what do you do when you're feeling hopeless? And I don't know if I should say it as what do you do when you're feeling hopeless, but just
yeah, to
okay.
me, I feel like that's the response is what do I do personally, right? Because
Mhm,
again, I think this is the gift of hope is that it offers us the opportunity to know that I can find a place beyond where I'm feeling or realizing I am right now. And so for me, there are two primary things I do. One is I listen to music because music
mhm,
touches my soul, and I listen to different kinds of music. depending literally on my mood. But music is something that transcends who I am and where I am and how I'm feeling and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's very secular music that's just upbeat and positive, and other times it's sacred or Christian-based music that just kind of the lyrics kind of help me out and kind of point me in a different direction.
Hmm.
And then for me personally, prayer, I find great hope and strength in prayer because it's my lifeline, it's my connection, and it's not as if I get like straight answers or anything or like direct revelation from God or anything like that. Excuse me, but prayer for me brings comfort and it brings strength, and in that I find hope. And um, so that's what I turn to. I turn to music and I turn to prayer.
Hmm. It's interesting you said that about answers, because when I was kind of looking through these questions, I wrote down, don't confuse hope with answers,
Yeah,
because I
that's
think
right.
so often we pray and we're looking for hope. We think what we're really looking for is answer this now. I want to know, when's this going to fix, or when's this going to change? Well, I know for me personally, I would love to say that the first thing I do when I feel hopeless is prayer. Um, and that eventually is a part of it, but I do tend to, I tend to go to the worry and the freak out and the I need to solve it and plan it. I think the two
I've
things.
never encountered that in you.
I know, right? Well, hey, I've always got a backup plan though, and that's important. Except sometimes can't have a backup plan. My two things, I think, when I'm really feeling hopeless, I need to see like the embodiment of hope.
Yeah,
And I see that a lot of times in like our youth, some of the service projects we do here, things like that. When I'm struggling with, is there hope? And then I see some kids, we had the precious little kids reading the Advent reading as we lit the Advent wreath and stuff like that. Those little kids, will just choke me up because, there's hope. And the other thing for me too is exercise. As strange
yeah,
as that sounds,
yeah.
that endorphin kick of, okay, I'm going to take myself out of this place. And I have shared before, and we have a podcast where I've shared about my dealings with depression. And while that's clinical depression and a chemical imbalance, sometimes that kind of stacks like this with feeling hopeless. And so getting up, physically moving, going for a walk, I'm no, crazy cardio, all of that kind of stuff, but just getting up and moving around, sometimes changing that scenery really helps.
Absolutely. I agree. I'm a exercise hound, if you will, and I know that exercise is so necessary to me for maintaining both just a sense of physical stamina, if you will, but also, like you say, the positive attitude and the hopeful attitude. For instance, when uh, um, COVID hit and all the gyms shut down, I don't have so much a membership to a gym, but there's amenity centers on site in my housing area, and they closed those down as well. And so I couldn't go a day without figuring out I've got to do something else. And I did some harmful things because I'm old, and so I then finally went and just bought a piece of equipment that I normally use at that gym
Uh-huh.
because there was no way I was going to be able to stay um, positive without exercising. I mean,
Yeah.
you speak a lot of truth in all that it's so very helpful, and some more than others to just do the exercising. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
if you need sometime, we can Zoom and I'll do some ballet for you, or a little tap dancing or something.
I'm
Well, these
still living with my old man's injuries from back in March.
It's okay. I can account for that. And I bet people would tune in to see Daniel doing ballet on. Well, these are great questions. And we would really love to have some, you tell us more, and what do you do when you're feeling, and maybe give us some ideas to try. So we are going to be back again on Wednesday at the same time, and talking about this more, a little bit more, digging into hope. Thank you for your time today, Daniel.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining in today.
Yeah, no, I'm
I,
happy to be here.
yeah, I'd encourage folks to check out. I posted on social channels this morning about, golly, what experience did you have this past week that brought you hope?
Mm.
And I've been very positively amazed at the number of responses. So people are hopeful out there, and that's a cool deal. That excites me.
That's great. Yeah. And we definitely need that looking at 2021, I think.
Yep.
shake the
Yep,
etch a sketch and feel that hope. So,
indeed.
well, we wish everyone a great day. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.